Hello and welcome to this latest video from HBXL, where we talk about 6 ways to premiumize your business and win higher value clients. My name is Ben Roberts. I'm the Director of Marketing at HBXL Group and a tutor at the HBXL Skills Academy, where we share a lot of tips and tricks like this to help improve your building business, whether you need to estimate better, improve the quality of your CAD drawings, but particularly on business management, looking at how do we effectively premiumize our business. I'm going to be letting you in on a couple of the key points that I cover in the boot camps particularly. So we're going to focus on 6 of those today. And I guess one of the first questions we really want to ask ourselves before we sort of really dive into the meat of the content is, why do some builders charge more than you and still win work? This is one of the really common questions we get asked is, well, I'm not making any money. Other people are charging more and yet they seem to be busier. I'm working really hard and I'm actually making hardly any profit at the end of it. So why don't we reframe that question a little bit? And so, well, why would you pay more for certain tools? Look at an example of this. So we've got a couple of different brands there. In your head, you're going to have perceptions of which ones you'd say were premium tools that you're willing to pay more for, and others that you're not willing to pay as much for. What are some of the reasons for that? Quality, how long it lasts, whether actually it has more flexibility in the choice that you're offering. Why are you more willing to pay more for, say, for example, a DeWalt tool than you would do a Ryobi tool? Well, actually, some of them are designed for professionals. Some of them might be designed for more DIY style. There's a reason that things are more expensive, but that's the difference between expensive and premiumized. These key factors, convenience, speed, customer service, support, reliability, these are things that over the years you've come to help make decisions on what you deem is an acceptable price to pay for the quality of tool or business that you're going to work with. If you have a positive review or recommendation to use a certain brand or a certain type of tool, you're more likely to actually willing to pay more for that than something that you've not been recommended. Same thing from a builder perspective, right? We've got 2, 3 builders quoting for the same jobs. One or two of them have been recommended to the potential client. They are already a step ahead of the one that hasn't been recommended, that they might have done their research on. But they may have also read reviews online from a more neutral space. So we start looking at all these factors adding up to how do we premiumize our business? What are all the things that we need to bring together to make sure that we are actually able to charge the amount that we deserve for the jobs that we do? And it's important to note before we go into sort of the detail of this, that premium isn't just about high prices. It's about the associated value to customers. Going back to those previous brands that I just sort of showed, some of them actually are more expensive, but it's not just about that. It's about what you associate with the price. Let's use an example, not for builders, a taxi versus a bus. Why would you pay more for a taxi to get you to a place than you would do paying for a bus? Because of the convenience, because it goes door to door, because you get a bit of more of a personal service. You don't have to spend the time on the bus and stop at all these different things. There's an associated value of why a taxi is better value for you, even though it's more expensive and you're willing to do that. And what we're trying to talk about here is not about the race to the bottom. It's about allowing your construction business to ultimately succeed. We're not talking about actually charging low and getting into a rut of low quality or low price jobs that you are suddenly getting recommended on and feel that you need to keep that low based in order to keep winning jobs. It's about increasing the value of your construction business to clients, which enables you to premiumize your business. So they're not just getting an extension built, they're getting everything that comes with it: the communication, the quality of work, the speed, the certain tools or construction materials that you're using. All of this premiumizes your business, and we are really going to dive into some of those now. And the final thing, before we get into the 6 ways and we can premiumize, is that it's define what your success could be. So when we think about premiumizing, why are we premiumizing? Well, because we may want fewer jobs per year, but all of them to actually be profitable. We do not want to be busy fools, where we're busy working around going, oh, I'm doing 10 jobs, but actually I'm not making any profit on any of them. I just need to be busy. Because being busy doesn't actually mean profitable, and it doesn't mean your construction business is actually going to last for a long time. Because if you're not making any money on those jobs, you're busy being busy, but you're not actually keeping your construction business sustainable. It might be that actually you want to pay yourself a proper salary or actually into a pension that so many builders forget to do is actually when we start trying to hand over our business or retire from work, we can't do that because we haven't got enough in our pension pot. Do we just want money in the bank? Do we want to go on holiday a bit more? Do we actually want to retain the staff? What is success to you? So, here are 6 ways we can start premiumizing your business. And the first one is just believe that you can actually charge more. So many builders underplay how much they think they can charge. And then we're going to some of those objections now. It's because you think, oh, I can't afford to lose any jobs. But if you can't afford to lose any jobs, are they profitable in the first place? So if you're already on that line, that you're like, actually, if I lose this one job, I'm actually going to be straight away going into the red. That's not a good place to be either. I need to keep crew busy or they'll go. I'm already expensive. My area is already competitive. These are objections we hear all the time. And they're completely valid, right? Because you can't afford to lose jobs because if you're busy and you're like, if I lose that job because I'm only making 2% profit on each job, and suddenly I lose that job, I'm then already in the red. However, if we reframe it and go, actually, if we're on 10% profit margin on these jobs, then actually I'm not quoting for jobs that I'm never going to make any money on. I'm just busy for the sake of being busy. I'm actually going to be doing fewer jobs, but for better profit margin, which means I need to do fewer jobs over the course of a year. Those fewer jobs means actually keeping crew busy, thinking about actually the type of works that they're going to do. Can you get in better, different types of people for different jobs? And you're already expensive, and that's what we want to reframe this word expensive, because it's not about expensive, it's about value, particularly for the type of client we want to go for when we're premiumizing, which we're going to cover as we move through this video. So we've raised those objections. Okay, well, how do we start getting that belief that there is wiggle room for us to be more premium within that? Well, part of this is about defining our margin. So we look at our margin, we go, we're only making actually 2% profit, 1% profit on each of these jobs. It's not enough to build a sustainable long-term business that you may want to hand over to your children. You want to be able to retire in X number of years. It's not enough money for you to really get out of it. So we start thinking about what is our actual margin? What do we need to make profit-wise in order to be sustainable? Now, this isn't about being greedy. Because some people go, oh, you're trying to be greedy, building is expensive. Well, no, it's not about greed. It's about actually what does success look like to you? Because everyone else who's working in any other job is all looking at their margins. List why you're worth it. It sounds simple. But what we're thinking about is what is the value of you over and above some of your competitors or other people that do what you do? So this might be actually in terms of the way that you communicate. It might be the way that you leave every job better than you found it in terms of cleanliness, in terms of looking after people's properties. It might be that you do a design and build business and you go full end to end. You don't have to worry about, the client doesn't have to worry about going out and speaking to lots of different people. You'll handle it all. That is a premium service because they don't have you're dealing with all that stuff. So from a client perspective, they're willing to pay more because you're doing more. And also understanding your red flags for work. So many builders we speak to, know that they're not going to win a job and yet spend the time detail estimating and quoting for that work, even though they've got no chance of winning it, and actually, or even don't even want to win it in the first place because they have a really you have a strong gut sense that this client is not going to be one that you want to work for. And it's okay to say no to people. You don't have to go and bid for every piece of work that comes your way. Those red flags allow you to really focus in on the types of work that are going to make money because you have defined your margin and you have defined why you're worth it. And this links into how do we understand where our profit is? We have to understand the types of work that makes money because not all work is going to make you the same level of profit. And because your business turns over quite a lot of money, it does not always equal profit. We see this all the time where people are like, well, I'm turning over a couple of £1 million in terms of doing new builds, retrofits, renovations, but they're still not making any profit. Yeah, they're turning over millions of pounds, but that's all going away. So there's actually nothing at the end of it. Being busy doesn't always equal profit. And bigger projects don't always equal profit. The same thing can be said of smaller projects. What if each of these are going to be different for each of your building businesses? Where is that profitable work? Is it potentially you find actually you're able to charge a 10% a 10% markup or a 10% profit margin on an extension? That's one that allows you to win work, do the jobs, and actually you could do 4, 5 extensions a year, and actually you've got a tidy profit, as opposed to maybe doing full houses for you, full renovations. You find actually that eats into your profit way too much because there's so many unknowns once a project starts, and you end up actually finding that your profit margins get eaten away too much. So you could do more renovations, but actually you're not making any profit off the end of it. And it's worth noting that this does take time to find. There is software out there, there are accountants out there that can help you understand that profit, because profit is really important to that sustainability of your business. And then the question really is, would you rather make 30k profit on 2 jobs or 30k profit on stressful ones? Even if, again, we're talking about the same level of profit there, it's what is the value to you? You may say, and it's completely up to you, that you go, I'd rather have 6 jobs. It keeps me everyone busy. Yeah, I know I'm not going to be making as much money per job, but it allows me to stay and work. That's fine. But in order to really premiumize your business, in order to give you what that success you're looking for out of it is, if you could do less jobs and make more money per job, why would you not want that? Because then that also allows you to upscale your business from that, and you might end up going, right, okay, well, if I could do 6 of those jobs, instead of 2 jobs, I could do 6 normal jobs, I could actually be making 120k profit on top of that, or 90k profit. So suddenly, instead of 6 stressful ones that you didn't really want to win, those you had red flags, you could be doing different jobs and making a much better profit margin on top of those. So in terms of the premiumizing, part of this as builders, we look at how do we look and sound premium? What does premium really look like? Well, there are a lot of opportunities to premiumize your business. Your van or fleet, your emails and comms, your quotes, your presentation. All of this comes together to have a premium business. Part of this is about it signals quality. We're signaling trust. We're showing all these things that actually reassure clients that you are the right type of person. Even premiumizing, even things, the fact that you're VAT registered can be a premium opportunity. Now, some people will argue that actually being VAT registered makes you more expensive. But the flip side of that is, if you are a good builder doing good work, you probably should be VAT registered. If you're turning over enough money, which you should be if you're doing a lot of renovations, extensions, new builds, you're probably VAT registered. And that is a sign of, okay, look, this is an established company. We're starting on the road to premiumization. So, what's some examples of this, you're going to ask? Well, it might be And this is probably the simplest one that I've seen for builders. So many still use Gmails, Hotmails, BT Internet email addresses, and they look a little bit like that top one, ben.builder@gmail.com. If you are to receive an email from someone and they come through an @Gmail, does that signal to a client? So if I'm the client and you email me from that, does that signal that you're going to be a top quality, that there's a lot of quality about it? No, we're probably signaling that we're a lower priced company. Or with the inquiries at ben-builds.co.uk, something really subtle, but it actually has quite a big impact on whether someone looks like an established business, looks more like a premium business, looks more like a quality business. Being able to get a domain like that for your business probably doesn't cost you very much. We're looking actually on some of these. I've looked at a lot of these recently. You could be looking at £1.99 for 12 months and maybe £7.99 a year after that. We are not talking about very much money to allow your comms to suddenly become a lot more premiumized. And again, as I said at the start, this is stuff that we cover in the skills boot camps in a lot more detail. So we go into this in terms of the rhyme, reasons, and decisions behind this. Which van looks more premium? You're turning up to a job, and on one days it's not sign written. Now, there are some legitimate concerns about like a sign written van that actually potentially opens up opportunities for tool theft. But there's the flip side the other way. We're going, actually, we turn up at someone's house and someone's got a clean van with a nice branding on it versus a dirty van like that. There might be some trade-off. But in terms of premiumizing it specifically around this topic, which one looks more premium? Which one is a client more willing to pay a higher price for or a higher cost for than the other? Straight away, hopefully you're seeing this and going, yeah, I can see that I'd be more willing to pay higher price for one than the other. And even things like quotes. On this left side, we've got a quote there from Dave to Mr. Smith. And we see a lot of these going out. And you guys probably go, yeah, I've sent out quotes like this as well, where it sort of gives an idea of what the job is, total price, includes materials, labor. Here's some brief notes on it. Versus sending out a quote that has certain things broken down into it. And again, being able to adjust some of that so you can be as transparent as you want or not. But the core is actually the way it's laid out, the detailing on that builds trust, that builds quality, so we can start going, right, okay, in terms of what does this look like to a client, we can demonstrate this. Even particularly early on, using an example quote when you're going in and actually thinking about when you go and meet a client for a first time, you go and look around their property to do the work. Can you show them an example of what a quote will look like? So that sets an expectation because you are willing to go that work, to go and put in this effort to make a nice looking quote. And it doesn't actually have to be that much effort, really, when you're using certain software tools. We're looking at this is the standard I'm going to give you. This is what you need to expect from other builders. So you're setting the standard. You are becoming the premium business in there that goes, look, this is what you should be expecting because you don't get any queries in this. This is building trust. A client goes, that's what I want. That's the expectation level I have. I'm willing to pay more for that quality of quote. And then we also need to think about the targeting of clients. And it's targeting better clients, not just more clients. Using the example we had earlier around winning, actually, if you had two clients that paid a better profit margin for you, that is actually better. So what is a premium client? A premium client might be actually someone building their forever home. Why? Because actually they are not interested in short-term profit. But in short-term profit, if someone wants to make short-term profit, they want to squeeze you as the builder in the middle as much as possible because that gives them a better return. And this is what I say, it's not about necessarily greed you trying to get this. This is about your fair share. Because if someone else is building for profit, they are trying to make sure that everyone else in the chain doesn't get much profit because that ends up being less for them. when you're chatting to a client, there is a big emphasis placed on trust over price. They've been burnt by other builders before. They've been recommended to you based on quality, not about price. They want a hassle-free experience. Going back to the design and build example I used earlier, where a client actually goes, I want to have a single business, a point of contact that is dealing with all of that for me. Because I want that hassle-free experience. I'm not in the country very often. I've got a busy family life. My work's stressful. I don't want to have this home renovation done and actually have even more stress on top of it. I haven't got the bandwidth. I haven't got the capacity to deal with that. You, as a builder, I would like you to deal with that. And that is a premiumization on your service. So where are these premium clients? Because again, going back to those objections earlier, we start going, well, I might be already expensive in my area. Well, there are a couple of ways you can find a premium client. You are doing, for example, you are doing a work on a job right now that you're going, this is the ideal type of client in the ideal type of area. Being able to go actually into that area, you've got actually that's the corner of an area you would like to go to. You're doing a job in an area. Can you send professional looking letters to people in the area, just specifying the work that you're doing, letting them know that you're in the area? This is if there's any disruption, here's some contact information. And look, and then part of that, people start going, oh, you're not selling to me, but they'll start noticing you in that area and they may come up to you and they'll remember you and start asking the client that you're doing work for, oh, how are they doing in your property? That's a way of you generating referrals, positive referrals from the premium job that you're already working on. So we're starting looking at actually this premium client. If you're already working on one, that's how you can start widening that area to try and be proactive in terms of the recommendations and referrals you get. Targeted advertising. Now, again, from builders, there's not always actually a huge amount of experience in doing targeted advertising and targeted web pages, but they are really important ways in which we get a premium client. We know, for example, if I'm a plasterer, that I might specialize in pebble dash plastering. Is that mentioned specifically in our web pages and the areas in which you want to work for? So say I'm based in London and I actually operate out of certain areas of London. If someone searches for the type of work you do in the area that you operate, so let's say pebble dash plastering in Hounslow, other areas are available, does your business come up? Because actually, if someone is looking for a certain type of thing that you do well and you do not come up, that is an area that you're missing out on a potential premium client who knows exactly what they want in the areas that you operate. It's really important that we try and be in those places. Their targeted web pages generally doesn't cost you much on the ongoing basis. It may cost you a little bit to get up into those areas. Targeted advertising, you'll generally pay per views or per clicks, and that could be through social media. It could be through search engines such as Google. There are different ways of doing that, but really narrowing down on the work you do in the areas that you operate. So number 5, we're getting into the home stretch now. Take control of your reputation. So I've mentioned it a couple of times already in terms of positive driving of reviews and referrals. Because good clients want to know that they can trust you. And they do read reviews and they do look for examples of your work. More and more, they are checking your company's house status. And they do understand that VAT registration. Being able to make sure you think about, right, even if you're not a builder right now and you're going to work with another company, a couple of things that you're going to do to check actually, is this company worth my time or my money? You might read reviews on them. You might look on Companies House. You might look if they're VAT registered. You might look for examples of work. If you would do that for someone else, why would you think that other people don't do it for you? because they want to trust you. So how can you make sure on your website, on your social media profiles, that they can trust you? In terms of your company's house status, depending on whether you're a small business or a micro entity, you've got to submit different examples, different what's the word I'm looking for? Different accounts to the company's house, and these are all visible to potential clients. This is an example I've pulled up from Company's House of a Builder that will remain anonymous. But what we can see is they were incorporated actually for it's in 2015. So at the time of recording, that's quite a long time. But what you can see there is they haven't got very much money in the bank. So we're starting to see that this business is now not operating in a profitable way. Now, as a client, they look at that and go, is this business going to be sustainable? Do I want to trust this person with my deposit, with my work that I'm going to be doing in my forever home? Because actually, I'd look at that as a client and go, there's something not quite right about this business. However, if you're able to show that you're consistent and you've got money in the bank, it shows that you're a trustworthy entity. And part of this is not necessarily hiding behind this and pretending it doesn't exist. Because a good client or a client that's paying you a lot of money will want to know. And you can get ahead of this. You can show, actually, look, here's our company's house link because it's there. You're being upfront with people. That builds trust and it actually shows you're a quality business. And you can use this reputation to premiumize. You can actively ask for reviews. You can give clients everything they need to help recommend you. So, for example, this might be leaving business cards at a client's house. If you've done a good job for them and they've really liked the work you do, most of them will be happy to actively review you and recommend you to other people. Give them what they need to be able to recommend you. Don't just go, oh, thanks. Yeah, any recommendations would be great. Can you leave them something there that they can hand out to people? Because if you've just renovated someone's house or kitchen or anything, one of the first things they do, or even several times, they want to invite people over to their property to show them the work they've done because they are going to be satisfied with it. When they come over, they're going to ask, oh, which builder did that? Oh, how did it go? They'll say, good. Oh, look, I've got a business card here. So you can start premiumizing and actively asking for reviews. Use VAT registration as a sign you're a proper building business. And again, the limited company link to company's house. And the final way we can look at premiumizing is really just thinking about breaking out of this cheap recommendation rut. So some of you guys watching might be familiar with this sort of feeling, is you need clients, so you price cheap. Great, you do decent work, and you get recommended off the cheap price that you're doing. So not necessarily the quality of work, but you're getting recommended because actually you were good, but you were undersold. Get recommended, you become busy because actually people want a cheap, good builder, but then you're actually as we used the example at the start, you're making no money off any of this. So suddenly you have a desperate need for clients again because your bank balance tells you that you need clients. And you start panicking. So we start going, oh, I need to price cheap again just to get work. Oh, but you do good jobs, so you get recommended. You become busy because people have recommended you because you're underpriced. Suddenly making no, and we start getting in this this loop because if you're pricing cheap and someone recommends you, they are probably going to mention the price. And it's going to be very hard for you suddenly to try and increase that price by 10, 15% and then still win that work. Because someone's going, well, why are they 15, 10, whether the number is cheaper than me? So we start looking at we need to get out of that price cheaply recommendation rut because it's a bad place to be. So to summarize everything that we've just covered in this, premium is not just expensive. And it's almost like remove that word expensive. You are not expensive. You are quality. You are adding value to increase the likelihood of winning work because we're adding value on top of what we do. We're not just going, we're pricing cheap and then going, I'm hoping to get as much work as possible. We're about adding value because we want to make the most out of every job that you want to win more of. So we think we're really hyper focusing on the types of work that make you money and making sure there's as much value out of there. You're giving clients every reason to say yes and avoiding all those reasons to say no. Or if there is a potential no, what you're trying to do is get ahead of those, such as, oh, you're expensive because of the VAT. But why is that important to you? There's a risk with going with other builders who aren't VAT registered. Now, someone may have just started out. That's absolutely fair. But there are many others that aren't VAT registered for a reason. So there's more detail on topics like this in our 16-point profit making guide. We are also going to be creating more content, webinars, and videos like this, where we're going to talk about other aspects of how to build your building business. But in terms of next steps, particularly from this video, it is worth booking a discovery call with the team. You can do that through the HBXL website. You can have a short demonstration, online demonstration of our software tools, so you can have a look at them in action. See, for example, how to create quotes, how to understand your profit margins within there. You can also try that software free for 14 days, no credit card required. It's just simply contact details. Additionally, if there is a skills bootcamp in your region, we can also look at getting you on our estimating CAD or business management or project management courses in your area. Additionally, we will also, if you are CITB registered, so that's the Construction Industry Training Board, you are potentially eligible for part funded courses in there where we again can go into a lot more detail about some of these topics. We will send you an email with all the information that you require. So that's it from me. Thank you very much for your time. Yeah, and any other information, please do email, go on the website hbxl.co.uk or skillsacademy.hbxl.co.uk. We'll send you an email with any other contact details and follow up from this video. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching. And if you have any questions at all, please do reply to the email that will be coming your way. Thank you.